What's going on, everybody? C4 here. Welcome back to the channel, and today we're getting it right early, bright and early before the draft starts. The draft starts in, I don't know, 12 hours, 10 hours, somewhere in that range. I felt like right before the draft, you've seen the 32-team 7-round mock draft series. You got in my final 32-team mock draft last night. Might squeak in an final Eagles mock between now and when the draft comes out, just to say that I got it out there. But I kind of want to leave the primer for the guys that are my guys. And today, we're going to be going through my final big board for the 2020 NFL Draft. My top 100 players through the power of the draftnetwork.com. Now, you may say to yourself, top 100, how come we got 5 extra? These are just like my honorable mentions. I'm not going to say necessarily these are my 101 through 105, but these are guys that didn't make my top 100 that I still am higher on than most. And we got Josh Kelly, running back UCLA, Antonio Gandy Golden, wide receiver from Liberty, James Lynch, probably literally just straight up D lineman. I think he'd be a 3-4 D end. I think he'd be a 4-3 D tackle from Baylor, Dane Jackson from Pittsburgh, and Julian Blackman, corner safety out of Utah. These are guys that I think will probably most likely, maybe they could sneak into the 4th round, but they could be day 3 prospects that I definitely would keep an eye out for. So as we go through this list here, we're going to my top 100. I think we'll do it in like chunks at 10. And just, cause obviously I'm not going to be able to sit here for 45 minutes to defend the pick. I'm just going to more so look at my top 10 and look at outliers. Because a lot of this is generally consensus. These guys, if they're within 10, 15 spots of where they're consistently mocked, I don't really need to pound the table and explain myself. But there are going to be some outliers here. We got A.J. Dillon, Damon Arnett, Troy Dye, Terrell Burgess, Michael Ojemudia, Jalen Hurts, Albert O, Austin Jackson, Logan Wilson, Antonio Gibson, and Ross Blacklock in my top 10. For the first 10, if you will, from 100 down to 90. Maybe A.J. Dillon higher than most. I did play running back. I'm not going to say I'm an expert when it comes to running back, but I feel like I do have that little itch that goes like, man, that guy's going to be good. And I think A.J. Dillon out of Boston College is going to be pretty damn good. Built like a fullback, but was very explosive, tested well at the combine. I think he's going to go probably 4th, 5th round, somewhere in that territory. And I can see him being as productive, if not more, than like James Conner for the Pittsburgh Steelers. A lot of similarities between their games. Arnett's, Troy Dye, Burgess, Ojemudia, those guys there generally, that's the range they're going. Jalen Hurts at 95. This one's a little more interesting. I think he's not really a top 95 quarterback for most teams, but for some teams he will be. Like if he goes to New Orleans, if he can go in and sit behind Drew Brees and develop behind Drew Brees, maybe he'll have something. And then worst case scenario, with Taysom Hill being a free agent in years' time, you got a guy that can be your Taysom Hill 2.0. So I think for like a team like New Orleans, he's a good athlete, he's a good locker room guy, good leader, and does have some intangibles that you can grow and develop. So, while I don't think in any way, shape, or doubt that I would want him personally as my team's quarterback, I think that there is a chance if he goes to the right team. New Orleans, why not? Why not? Can he, get to maybe like a Dak Prescott level or something like that, similar styles? Alberto, Austin Jackson, Logan Wilson, Gibson, maybe, out of all these ones, maybe Gibson's a little bit higher than most, but I just think he's such a big athlete that it's just so valuable. He goes to the right scenario and they can develop and grow him. It's going to be great. Maybe I'm lower on Blacklock than most. I just see him as a solid D lineman. I don't see anything spectacular about him. I didn't see anything that was stand out about him. I didn't see anything that was bad, no red flags. It's just, so I remember when I was seeing him go in the first round, I was like, I have a solid 3rd round grade on this guy. Which, that's not brutal. 3rd round picks all the time. Those are guys that see the field a lot as rookies. But maybe I'm lowering him just a little bit because I don't really see the ceiling. So moving on to the next group of 10. We got Jake Fromm, Reggie Robinson, Jordan Brooks, Cushionberry, Jacob Eason, James Prochet, DPJ, Quintez Cephas, Malik Harrison, and Bryson Hopkins. I guess the defense, Jake Fromm. Again, that's probably where most people have Jake Fromm going. 3rd round quarterback, nice developmental option. Reggie Robinson at Tulsa, big outside, long, good athlete corner. Outside corners in this draft where it does seem like there's a premium on those because most guys in this draft that look safer and look intriguing, they're slot guys. So guys that have the length and the speed on the outside, those are the guys that teams are going to gamble on, that they might be able to get a shutdown, lockdown corner. Jordan Brooks, solid. Cushionberry, Eason, Prochet. Man, I'd say of this group, probably Prochet could be the big surprise. I just think he might have the best hands in this year's draft class. Got forced for the ball at SMU. A lot of targets. It is like an air raid type scheme, but he did not drop the ball. I think he has great route running. And then channel stuff aside, we all know what he does in Rip City. I think James Prochet is really nice. Donovan Peoples-Jones, limited production, but a great athlete. Cephas, he's another one of those guys. I remember last year, when the Houston Texans, they ended up getting a guard from Northern Illinois, Max Sharping. And like when they're asking a bunch, there's a common interview question is during media days and stuff like that, when they're getting ready for the combine, like, who's the toughest player you're going up against? And you're having like premier edge rusher saying Max Sharping. You're like, oh, okay. And I think like Okuda and a couple other guys in the Big Ten said the best, toughest wide receiver they went up against was Cephas. I think in terms of slot, I mean, I get Anquan Bolden vibes from him, so I think he's going to be a really nice slot wide receiver. The rest of this list, it's pretty self-explanatory. I don't think there's anything too crazy. The next 10, we got Ezra Cleveland, Devin Duvernay, Tyler Bidash, Raekwon Davis, Darrell Taylor, Aquara, Bonganahi, Avon Wallace, Darnay Holmes, and Jonathan Grenard. We'll go up there just a little bit. Cleveland, I mean, tested well at the combine. I think he'll be like, a chance to get in the second round. Duvernay, great speed, great slot wide receiver. Bidash, I'm not... Obviously, there's medicals. If the medicals check out for him, I think he's going to be insane value at the probably third round for a center. And you get a guy that's probably a starting center if he gets healthy. Raekwon, I don't think there's anything too crazy in this next chunk of guys. Maybe Igbognahi, where I have him. The 3 games that I watched of Auburn, because that's how do I scout. I'm a YouTube scout at best. I watch a lot of college football, and I trust that you guys think that I know a little bit about draft players, and I watch it I watch full games. That's just how it happens. And every game I watched of Igbognahi, he got burned. He got toasted. So I'm more so trusting the people whose job it is to say that, obviously the athletic profile is not bad. The footwork is there. The upside is there. I mean, pretty much everything with this guy, the tagline, the buzzword is upside and ceiling. So, sure, I didn't see it, but I'm not going to be football hipster stuck in my ways to be like, if everyone else whose job and career it is that thinks this guy here at least has something. I was like, all right, I'm not going to just leave him off the big board. So I stuck him in here. But I'm putting all the other corners that I truly trust and believe that are going to be good, like Darnay Holmes, UCLA, slot guy that has played on the outside, has a ceiling to maybe be like a Chris Harris, undersized outside corner. Definitely going to put guys like him ahead. Then my boy from Florida, John Grenard, transfer from Louisville, was a beast for us last year. Just got to watch that LSU game. Watch that LSU game. If you want to see anything, watch Florida versus LSU. The first half, Grenard was playing, and we kept it close. He got hurt the second half, and then the game pretty much was over by that point. The next group of 10, you've already got a little sneak peek. We got, Troutman, Willie Gay, Natane Muti, Akeem Davis-Gaither, Terrell Lewis, Cole Kmet, Zack Moss, Matt Hennessy, Van Jefferson, Curtis Weaver. Again, I don't think there's anything too indefensible in this list. This all seems like guys that most people have in their mid-rankings. Troutman could be the best tight end in this draft class. Willie Gay, I think he's a more athletic Vontez Burfict. Muti, kind of like Bidash. If the medical's good, there's a chance he's the top guard in interior lineman in this year's draft class. Very powerful road grader type guy. Davis-Gaither, modern-day linebacker. Lewis, another guy with a medical. That's going to be like when we're in the 50s and 60s. That's where we're talking about guys that are really, really good. Could be potentially first-round players, but the medical's probably going to have them see themselves fall into the second round. But if everything looks good, and the medical this year is so difficult because of the COVID and all the phone interviews and stuff like that. Teams are not going to have as enough time to prod and medically test and have all these guys and get a true read on their physical status as they would have years past. So that's going to be a difficult thing for teams to navigate. I do think you might see players that might have a potential red flag when it comes to injury slip this year because teams are not going to be willing to take that gamble because they haven't had nearly as much resources and time to do the due diligence and to check the medical. Kind of rounding this out here, Zack Moss, I think he's a violent runner, one of the best power backs in this year's draft class. So I have him within my 60. Moving on, we got Marlin Davidson at 59, Devon Hamilton at Ohio State. We got Bryce Hall, Ashton Davis, Justin Matabuke, Laviska Shenault, Lucas Nyang, Zach Bond, and Jeremy Chin, rounding out my outside top 50. I am higher on Mostyn Hamilton, watching his breakout year last year at Ohio State. I mean, he's built like a nose tackle, and he can definitely apply pressure. He can close a pocket down, which is it's rare. It is rare, and I think his profile, in terms of developing into a complete nose tackle type guy, like I think I had in my mock draft, go to the Pittsburgh Steelers to take over Javon Hargrave. Yeah, I think that's like, there you go. There's your immediate replacement. So I'm Pittsburgh, where they got 2 second-round picks or a second or third, something like that. I think they might have 2 second rounds. Get Hamilton. There you go. Well, I, as an Eagle fan, appreciate what the skill level and talent of Javon Hargrave is. If you're Pittsburgh, get your replacement right there. Bryce Hall with the medical. Ashton Davis could be day one starter and getting that value in the second round. Matabuke, all these other ones. I think these are all generally kind of where these guys are going. Maybe Bond and Chanel. I could be lower on the most. Chanel, I just think project wide receiver. Great athlete, high ceiling, but right now he's more of a gadget player, I think, than a refined receiver. So he's had to go to a right landing spot. And Zach Bond, I could say I'm maybe a little bit lower on Zach Bond than some people, because I know some people have him as a top 30 player going in the first round. I just don't see the explosiveness, the elite explosive traits. He's like people, obviously the easy comparison is TJ Watt, because they both kind of have a similar style. But I mean, TJ Watt was a lot more explosive, and I think TJ Watt always had a much higher ceiling than a Zack Bond. But Zack Bond's not a bad player, especially if you're looking to improve your outside linebackers in a 3-4 scheme. So now we're going into the top 50. So we're going to go here 50 to 40. We have Brian Edwards, Michael Pittman, Kyle Duggar, Jabari Zuniga, KJ Hamler, Jalen Reagor, Josh Jones, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Brandon Ayuk, AJ Terrell, and Cam Akers. I would say Brian Edwards starting things out the top 50 could be surprising, but he's a guy that I think is deep sleeper. I think him and Michael Pittman are going to be two guys that are going to go second, third round that are going to be starting as rookies. Obviously, I can't foresee where they're going to go. They could be going somewhere that already has the two outside guys already established. But I think Edwards has just ridiculous tape for very bad quarterback play, and Pittman has size. This is coming from someone that obviously has a terrible background, terrible history with USC wide receivers. Pittman has the speed. He was like low 4.5s, tested combine, not pro day. What's that piece of junk? Arcega Whiteside that Philly drafted that had a decent hand time at a pro day, which made me like, all right, it's not bad. I could convince myself it wasn't a bad pick. They did garbage. But Pittman, proven hand time, 6'3", 220, had very low drop. I think he had one of the lowest drop percentages in college football last year. So I think he is one of the most underrated wide receivers in the class. We got Zuniga, most explosive edge rusher at the combine, one of the best run defenders in college football. And then if you pair that with the ceiling that he showed with his explosiveness at the combine, I think he could be a guy. If Seattle, I don't know why, this is just something that keeps coming to me. If Seattle, a team that does tend to trade back in the first round, but if they keep their start there in the first round, they make surprise picks. Rashad Petty was a surprise pick. LJ Collier was a surprise pick. For whatever reason, because they need the edge help, but then there's still no stability between them and Jadeveon Clowney. I, for whatever reason, could see Zuniga sneaking into the first round. I don't know why. Maybe it's a little Gator bias, but I mean, it's not really a Gator bias. Why would I dog one of my guys saying he's going to be a reach in the first? But I don't know why. That's just a connection I'm making. We got Hamler and Reagor. Both these guys kind of 1 and 2. They're both the explosive wide receivers with question marks. Hamler has drop issues. Reagor I've come along to Reagor. Rager's a guy that I was really bothered with when Philly was mocked him in the first round, and I think he could be the surprise pick that Eagles get in at pick 21, and I'm going to be like a little bit disappointed. I just don't see first round caliber playmaker. Doesn't have proven production at TCU, and again, inconsistent quarter play. I get it, but the more I've actually watched him, and I've watched a lot of him over the last 2-3 days, he's explosive. He's a big time playmaker. His jump ball ability does not match his size. And I will say, out of this whole process of guys, because really Reagor and Laviska Shenault, the two wide receivers, because obviously Philly, as an Eagle fan, desperately need a wide receiver. Those have been the two guys for pretty much the whole time. And I was like, I do not want any part of them. No, thank you. I think I'm coming along to Reagor. As long as it's not in the first round, if we can get him in the second round, trade up and get him in the second round, I'll be okay with that. The rest of this list seems, pretty much these are where these guys are expected. Maybe Akers ahead of Edwards-Helaire. I'm just going straight athletic profile here. I think Edwards-Helaire is like a big Darren Sproles, which, Jesus Christ, Darren Sproles made the all-decade team twice. I just think for Cam Akers, Darren Sproles was a role player, a great role player, a guy that could fill in and start for sure, but he best projects as a role player. I just think Cam Akers' ceiling is a true 3-down back, which is why I just have him slightly ahead of Edwards-Helaire. Going to the next group, we got Diggs at 39, T. Higgins, Neville Gallimore, Kenneth Murray, Xavier McKinney, Amik Robertson, Josh Uche, Jalen Johnson, J.K. Dobbins, Justin Jefferson. So this is the next group. These are all guys that are going to be fitting in that. Are they going to sneak into the first round with really, I would say probably two outliers, guys that I am higher on than most. So yeah, Diggs, Higgins, Gallimore, Murray, Xavier McKinney, those guys make sense. Those guys are common players around that number, maybe a little bit higher. But Amik Robertson, I think he's Honey Badger. I think his tape got my rocks off. Okay, I'm an Eagles fan. We need help in the secondary. Unfortunately, we don't need another nickel corner. But if we could, if they believe this guy could be a safety, his tape, he loves to hit. He has elite production. Elite production. Athletic profile's not bad. I think he's going to be this year's, for me, I was pounding the table last year, a little bit more biasly, but for Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. I said he was my best safety in the class. Ended up going, what? 3rd round? And ended up being a starter. Ended up being Von Bell gone. You know what I'm saying? I mean, things get a little interesting now with Malcolm Jenkins, but Chauncey Gardner-Johnson was sensational for where his draft position was last season. And I was like, did you watch him play? If you watched him play, you know this. And I think the same case is here for Amik Robertson. Big fan. I don't know where he's going to go. He could go 2nd round. He could go 3rd round. Whatever team gets him is getting a stud. Same with Josh Uche. Josh Uche had an insane win percentage, pass rush win rate. I think he dominated this. His Senior Bowl was filthy. He was going up against Calvin Throckmorton, tackle guard. He's probably going to move into guard, but it was a tackle at Oregon. Embarrassing. One of the most embarrassing performances. Like, he sunned him every time. Like, Uche would have had 9 sacks in the Senior Bowl if he was finishing his plays. And I think that was more not a knock on him for not finishing the plays. It was just, it's a Senior Bowl. You don't want to be blowing up quarterbacks. But I think Josh Uche is going to be something special. Versatile player, too. I think right now I kind of like him more so as a 4-3 end, but I think he has the upside athletic profile to be a 3-4 outside linebacker. I like Jalen Johnson a lot. If you want to press, you want a corner that's zone corner, press zone, can tackle well, great mindset. I think he's a really nice value pick. Should be one of the first players off the board in the 2nd round. If not, sneak into the 1st round. I will go up one here just a little bit because I'm a little bit of a coward. I put Justin Jefferson and Denzel Mims here. Obviously, I'm a little bit of a Mims homer. If you follow me on Twitter, anytime Baylor was playing last year during the college football season, I was pounding the table that I've been a Mims guy for like 3 years now. I really think it's like, what you want? Because this is another thing. I don't want to relate this video back to just being an Eagles fan, but who's Philly going at 21? Are we going to get Denzel Mims? Are we going to get Justin Jefferson? It's a question that's very popular in the hashtag #FlyEaglesFly conversations right now. I just think, what do you want? Do you want to gamble on a guy that's not as for sure of a thing, but most likely has a higher ceiling? You want to gamble on a guy that could be the next AJ Green? You go with a Denzel Mims. You want to gamble on a guy that's probably a safer bet to be a good slot corner, but could also be a well-rounded wide receiver that can do everything. You go Justin Jefferson. So, again, when I'm very close, like a 1A, 1B on a player, if I have to put a different ranking, I'm going with the guy with the higher ceiling every time. And obviously, Mims, for the most part, has a higher ceiling. But moving on to the next set of from 20, the top 20, we have Denzel Mims at 29, Jordan Love, Cesar Ruiz, AJ Epineza, Patrick Queen, Christian Fulton, Winfield, Groza Matos, CJ Henderson, and Jonathan Taylor. Again, nothing too crazy with these ones. Maybe I have Winfield higher. He could be the one outlier here. Maybe CJ Henderson a little bit lower. With Henderson, for me, as a Gator fan, 2018 CJ Henderson was filthy. He was unreal. Last year, he took games off. There's no way to say it. He was disappointing last season for me, but I get the athletic profile, the length, the outside, the premium price that you put on outside corners. I get it. So I'm not going to dog him too much. And I'm a Gator fan. I really hope he can wipe the stink of the last couple highly selected Florida Gator corners that haven't worked out. Tease Tabor, Vernon Hargraves, Quincy Wilson. It's not been great. Like, the best Gator corner right now in the NFL is probably like 40-year-old Joe Hayden. So I would love to see CJ Henderson, 2018 CJ Henderson, land and be a day one starter. But I do have him just a couple spots lower than maybe the consensus, and that might be weird as a Gator fan, just because, man, the low effort plays last season, it definitely kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Felt like he played last year not getting hurt, like trying not to get hurt, which, I mean, by all means, man. What do you think? Protect your chicken, or whatever the hell Marshawn Lynch said. Remember? He was like, count your chickens, or save your chickens, or something like that. I get it. Don't get hurt. You're a for sure thing to go top 30. But, you know, as a Gator fan, would have been nice if you showed up a little bit more. And maybe Whitfield Jr., I just think really, really good DB. Platooned a lot of things. Great athlete. Don't really care about the length issues. Going to the top 10, we got Jeff Gladney at 19, DeAndre Swift at 18, Grant Delpit at 17, Wirfs, Herbert, Becton, Brown, Kinlaw, Wills, and Chesson. I'm a Jeff Gladney homer. I know the age concern. He's going to be 24, a little bit older of a prospect, but I just think you're getting a guy that's very, very high floor. He's going to be a contributor. Worst case scenario, he's a really good nickel corner. Best case scenario, he could be one of those Chris Harris smaller outside guys. So high floor on a position that's very hard to hit on. Swift's best running back in the class. Delpit, the tackling issues, yeah, I get it. I still do think he's best safety in the class. So the 2018 Grant Delpit, he can add on a little bit of weight and still be a great athlete, and that should shore up a little bit of the tackling issues. But from a cover standpoint, I mean, he's kind of not really Minkah Fitzpatrick in a way. I think Minkah has better hips. Minkah also had a legit shot to play as a corner. But I think if we're grading them both as safeties, I think their ceilings are fairly similar. I got Wirfs a little bit lower than most just because some people think he could eventually have to slide into guard. Obviously, A-tier athlete. Herbert at 15, Becton, monster. I got Derek Brown, Clayton Law again. Really, I'm taking the easy way out, much like Mims and Jefferson. I think they're both. What are you looking for? If you want a run stuffer, you're going to want Derek Brown. You're going to have him ahead of Kinlaw. If you want a guy with a higher ceiling that can develop into maybe really an interior pass rusher, you're going to want a Kinlaw type. So, again, I just think Kinlaw has a little bit higher ceiling, but I also think Derek Brown, probably if you're looking for safe bets in this class, he's a top 5 safe thing. So, it was a little contradictory here, but he's still in my top 15. Chasson maybe at number 10 could be surprising, but I don't really think so. But my official top 10, we got Chasson at 10, Andrew Thomas at 9, Ruggs at 8, Judy, Lamb, Tua, Simmons, Burrow, Okudah, and Young. So going from 1 down, Young, automatic. He should be most people like. I think my top 5 is kind of consensus. I am putting Simmons in here. You almost have to put a disclaimer. There are some people that think regardless of where he goes, he's going to be elite. I think he is very, very going to be a product of his surroundings. If he goes to a team that knows how to use him, he could even be the best player in this class. If he goes to a team that doesn't know how to use him and they still burn a premium pick, like someone that doesn't really know how to drive a car and they end up going by a Ferrari and they just, the engine gets destroyed after like a month because they don't know what they're doing, that could be Isaiah Simmons. But if he goes to the right team with a great creative DC that will find different ways to utilize him, he absolutely is a top 5 player in the class. But I guess maybe because of that risk, he could be down further in my draft board, but I'm going to trust that he's going to go to a great situation. I'm going to trust the NFL that a team that doesn't know how to use him is not going to draft him, which we have seen teams. I remember, just think about the Lions getting Kyle Van Noy. Kyle Van Noy, the Lions, he was a high pick, did nothing, went to New England, and was one of the more versatile linebackers in the NFL. Something like that could happen, but I don't think it will. Lamb, Judy, Ruggs, that's the order that I have him in. I think Andrew Thomas, best tackle in the class, not changing on that, even though a lot of people have him now as like the 4th for whatever reason. He's the safest tackle in this year's draft class. Wills, right tackle purely. You got Becton, right now more athlete than he is technical. Wirfs, could slide into guard. I want a tackle. I don't want a guy that's going to eventually be a guard, the top 10 pick. That's not like a Quentin Nelson. So I think Andrew Thomas, bona fide, very, very high floor tackle. And the only thing, if I had to leave a soundbite, I think I'm closer than most. I have Joe Burrow and Tua in the same tier when I'm ranking quarterbacks. Seems like most people right now at this point in the draft process, Joe Burrow is in this tier, and then it's like way down here is the next group. If you're putting Tua or you're putting Herbert or you're gonna gamble on Jordan Love's ceiling, but I have them in the same tier. Maybe that's my hot take. That's my hot take to end this in my top 100 rankings. Is I think Tua is a lot closer to Joe Burrow than the consensus. I don't think I'm out just because Joe Burrow's year and I'm SEC bias. I'm gonna put that there at 3. But I'm gonna say for me, the negatives are incredibly close. I think the negatives against Joe Burrow about not elite arm strength and 1-year wonder is as valid and as equal of a knock as Tua is with the medical. And if Tua's medical's fine, I'm not going to be football hipster and put Tua ahead of Joe Burrow, but I will just say that I almost have it a 1A, 1B from a number 1 quarterback, whereas everyone else, consensus almost, I would say at least 80% of people have it firmly Joe Burrow here at 1, a decent amount, and then Tua or whoever. They might even not have Tua at number 2. So yeah, that'll be my little bit of a hot take. I didn't want to just put Tua there because that's like clickbait. Oh, he's just because Joe Burrow, if I'm Cincinnati, I'm going Joe Burrow. That's ultimately why I had Burrow ahead of Tua. But I think at the end of the day, there's a deep, dark spot in my brain that likes Tua more than Joe Burrow. I don't know why, but that's it. I'm spitting facts. So I hope you guys did enjoy the top 100 big board. A little bit lengthy, 24 minutes, but I will be back, I think, probably before the draft and get out a Philadelphia Eagles mock draft, my final one. I'll probably just use the Draft Network. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. And again, no idea stay tuned to my Twitter if I'm going to be doing a live stream or something like that on Twitch for the draft. I might because we're all inside right now. So that could be cool. That could be a fun time to hang out. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. And that is for me today, guys. Thank you for watching. Until next time, C4, saying peace out.